Hi there! So today I wanted to take you on a quick little mini April spring tour of my garden, and man, it is crazy how quickly things pop up. I mean, I have had things pop up within a week and a half that were basically non-existent a week and a half ago, and now they're like have significant growth to them. So my husband actually just mowed the lawn for the first time, so that's pretty cool. He's got his Ghostbuster pack on out there and he's blowing, but he's almost done here, so it won't be as loud. I'll probably just take you down through the gully. That's kind of all I have time for today because I have to be at church later for youth group, but we'll just take you through, look at the daffodils and all the little plants that are starting to pop up for the springtime. Well, I thought I would start right here with this cute sugar time maple. It is leafing out. It's also setting some little buds, and these will be blooming in no time. So it's kind of nice right here. I've got 3 of them. They all kind of line this way right here. Now this little tour is going to be weeds and junk and all. I haven't cleaned up in here at all. Gradually when I have time, I come out here and pull weeds here and there and maybe rake up a little bit, but I haven't like fully went through the entire thing and cleaned it out. So this is just what it looks like in April. This is the honest look at what my garden looks like in the middle of April. So here we go, weeds and all. So right here I've got like a ton of lamb's ear, and like I said, I won't keep saying it, but I will come in here and just clean all this junky stuff out and kind of let it breathe a little bit, but I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. But this lamb's ear is beautiful. It's so soft and it has the most kind of electric purpley blue bloom when it does bloom, and it kind of just like patches itself in different spots. If I like where it patches itself at, like it made those 2 patches last year, I leave it. If I don't like it, I you know, pull it up and put it somewhere else. But yeah, obviously I need lots of weeding to happen here, but I've got my daffodils that are coming up here. They're so bright and yellow and cheerful. I love the straight yellow ones up against that blue foliage. I think it looks really cool. Over here, a lot of stuff is starting to leaf out. I do have lots of weeds in here, but there's some echinacea, and then this is amazing daisies, Daisy May. We've got some allium in here, and then my lupine that I planted last year, it came back, which is awesome. And I love this. There's like a little tiny dab of water sitting in there. Isn't that pretty? It's on every single little middle of the leaf set. And I've got some beard tongue here. This is Midnight Masquerade, and it kind of goes in a little swoop around here. My delphiniums are popping up this year. Last year these bloomed 3 different times because I cut them back each time they bloomed. So those are starting to leaf out pretty good. Last year I got a bunch of Heuchera on sale at the end of the season. So these are wild rose. I think I've got 5 in here. Yeah, there's the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are starting to leaf out. Really pretty color. It's almost like wild berry, except it's a little bit more reddish. Over here I have 3 incredible hydrangeas. These are also starting to put on new growth. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll probably cut it back just right there. And I'll do the same for the rest of them. Walking down the path here, I've got some more daffodils. And then behind that, I've got some caramel Heuchera. And these were also eaten completely by the deer, but they're popping back. And then behind it, I have some Primo Black Pearl Heuchera that is heaving pretty bad. So I'm gonna have to dig this up and rework it into the ground and give it a fighting chance. Over here, I've got some Hosta. I got tons of Hosta everywhere that is starting to pop up. I'm pretty sure this is Blue Angel. I can't remember if it's Blue Angel or Elegance. I'll have to wait till it comes up. Over here I have 3 wee white hydrangeas that are starting to put on a little bit of growth. You can see that green growth. Now this is interesting. Somebody ate my neon sedum here. You can see they were nibbling at it, which I'm actually not mad about because it kind of created a natural trim. And you can see all these new little guys that are starting to pop up from that one being eaten. You can see over here the same thing happened. So these were taken off by either a deer or a rabbit, and there's 2 shoots that are coming off of the side where they pruned it back from me. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens with this. It might actually turn out really cool. You can kind of see it on this one too. All these little spots where they ate it off, it's producing 2 new shoots in there. I planted these hydrangea last year. I've got 3 of them, so 1, 2, 3, and these are called Tough Stuff Red. They've got tons of green growth on them. I'm really excited about it. I left one of the tags out here, but this is what they look like. It's not technically a red, it's more of like a pink color, but it's called red. And I'm really excited to try these because I've tried this type of hydrangea in the past and I can't really get it to bloom for me. So I actually was able to speak with Jack Barnwell at Mackinac Island, and he's like, you should try them again. Try the Proven Winner variety. They're a really great plant, and if you give it enough sun and enough water, they should bloom for you no problem. So I was like, all right, sold. And I ended up buying 3 of them at the end of the season last year with a birthday gift card I got from my mother and father-in-law. So I was really excited about that. Just turned around a little bit because I couldn't forget these really pretty daffodils over here. These are so neat. I planted these, 2 years ago, I think, and I really wasn't sure how they would do this year because once my Hosta, you can see I've got a huge Hosta right there, and then I also have a huge Hosta right here. This is the big Sum and Substance, and here's a Hosta too. And so, once these Hostas start popping up, I wasn't sure that they would be getting enough sunshine to hold energy to produce really nice blooms for this year, but they seem to be doing fine. Right down in here I have a swoop of Lady's Mantle, and I'm contemplating moving this because these 2 right here are the only ones that get really a little bit of sun. And so like I said, once these Hostas start growing in here, it kind of covers up these Lady's Mantle, and they don't really get too big. And so I kind of want to move them. I don't really think they like it in here. They need a little bit more sun. So this is why I love Heuchera so much. You can see all the little pops of reds and purples in here. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of wind. But it just provides so much color. So this is Pink Panther in here, and then it goes into a really pretty fern, and you might be able to see some of the little fronds that are popping up. This is kind of a late popper, but you can see it's starting to produce some right here. Those will be popped up in no time. Over here I've got a little swoop of Peach Flambe Heuchera, and then once we get down here I have a little swoop of Queen of Hearts Brunnera. So this one is really cool because it's already, look how far up off the ground that is. It's all probably about 5 inches already, and it already has these cute little blooms on it that almost remind you of like a little forget-me-not flower. They're just so dainty and pretty, and the blooms last for a very long time. And then as it gets older into the season, the leaves, I don't know if they just become bigger and there's less of them, but it's more of like a broader leaf plant, which is really neat. Behind it, I've got some Dark Side of the Moon Astilbe. It was like $2 at the end of the season on clearance, and I thought I planted 3 of them in here. I thought I planted one right there, but I'm not seeing it, so I could have lost one, but I'm not sure. Over here, my Creeping Jenny is starting to come up. This is a Mahogany Monster Heuchera right here. I'm pretty sure this is Alice Purple Heuchera, and then I've got some Carex, and then that is a Forever Purple Heuchera. All around this tree, you can see my Hosta are starting to pop up. I have Halcyon Hosta planted all the way around this tree. And then over here, we have another Queen of Hearts Brunnera. Over here last year I got a ton of plants on sale and I decided to put them in kind of a little rainbow. So on the outside I've got, you can see they're starting to pop up. Right here I split a bunch of Autumn Frost Hosta. So these are Autumn Frost Hosta. They're really, really pretty Hosta. And I have them all in a line that kind of go around here. So you can see there's one. There's one, and then they keep going. And then in front of that, I've got this Primo Black Pearl Heuchera, and that kind of goes in a line like that. And then in front of that, I have, I can't remember if there's something in here or not. This is the fun of it. Yes, there's something right there. So it looks like a fern. I think I planted the Japanese painted ferns in here. So those kind of go in a swoop in front of the Primo Black Pearl. And then I've got Georgia Peach, and I'm super excited about this one. It has giant leaves on it. Not right now, but once it, is in full growth mode, it's got giant leaves on it, and it's so pretty. So I got that in a little swoop. And then in front of that, I believe I've got little, is it blue mouse ears maybe? Can't remember. I think it's blue mouse ears Hosta, and these are the cutest little tiny Hosta you've ever seen, with like these tiny little blue leaves that look like mouse ears, I guess. But those are all in a little swoop as well. So that should be interesting when it all grows in. And then all in here is just tons of Hosta. Really nice variety of Hosta I've been collecting. Over here I've got another Brunnera, and I believe this is Alexander the Great. This bloom is a little bit bluer than the Queen of Hearts, and the leaf structure on this is more widespread. So there's like, it's more airy in the middle. The other one is more clumpy, but the same thing will happen with this one as it does with the other ones. It will kind of have small leaves to start out, and then as the summer comes, they kind of turn into more of a broadleaf plant. Again, all throughout here I've got tons of Hosta. Any spot we go past that is like kind of bare, that is probably where I have tons of Hosta that's poking up. But what I'll also do is I'll come in here and put impatiens, beacon impatiens, and begonias, some shade annuals that kind of create more color. And the Hosta with the shade annuals looks really pretty. Here around this tree as well, I've got blue Halcyon Hosta. Last year I went and I dug up a ton of astilbe that was like over in this garden here, and it just wasn't really doing good, and I put it all in this little spot. So I'm kind of seeing if it does a little better there. I love these Hellebores so much. They're really neat plants, and it's just such a breath of fresh air in the springtime and in the winter time when there's nothing blooming. These things just pop up like it's no big deal. Super hardy from the cold. They're just a really neat plant. I've got another one over here. Super pretty. This one is starting to bloom a little bit later, which is nice. You can see all these buds are still trying to pop open. And you guys, the deer came in here, or the bunnies, I don't know, one of the two, and they kind of hacked at these, and they just didn't skip a beat. So that's kind of cool. But I have them in this little section right here. Yes, so that's what we just kind of walked through. And then we'll see how far else I can go. It's starting to get really windy, so I'm not sure how much you guys can hear. But these I transplanted from another area last year, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure what they are. I feel like I want to say it's Rudbeckia, but I'm not sure. I can't really tell yet, because Rudbeckia doesn't really have this soft of a leaf, but it looks like Rudbeckia. So I'm gonna wait till those pop up and we'll see what they are. It's kind of the fun of it. But you can see there's just like Hosta starting to pop up. I can't remember if this Hosta is June or first frost. We're getting into the part where it's really, really in need of a giant clean. There's just weeds everywhere and lots of like leaf mulch and sticks I have to clean up. But you can see my sedum is coming up. This looks really neat, and I might actually come in here and prune this back just so that I don't have it flap over, kind of like the deer or rabbit stitch in my other ones. And then, yeah, I have a couple. So I planted 3 of them in here. 1, 2, 3, and then it kind of reseeded itself and put 2 more there. So I could dig those up and put them somewhere else. I also have more Hellebore in here. I transplanted all of these from another plant. I just dug it up and split it and then put them in here. So those are pretty. And then all throughout here I have got autumn frost Hosta. They're starting to pop up. Well, even though there are tons of weeds in here and I have to clean up this line and fix my rocks, and obviously there's just, I mean, this is what the garden looks like. It's the middle of April. You can still see lots of color, perennial color that is popping through. And let's see, I gotta show you my carex. So the deer come in every year, well, not every year, but mostly every year, and they just hack back this carex. So I don't know, about a week ago or so, none of this new growth was on here. So, you know, I don't really mind it that they do this. I always have it grow back just fine. It's producing all this new growth and it's gonna be fine. It is kind of ugly at first, but what? All right. It is kind of ugly at first, but it pops back in no time. Back here, I have my bleeding hearts that literally the other day, these were probably only about 3 inches off the ground. I'm not kidding. Within 1 to 2 days, it's insane. They put on this much growth, and they've already started to set some buds, and these will be blooming in no time. They're just the neatest little blooms. I love them. I got another one right there, and then another one right there that I'm pretty sure it's probably smaller because I was digging around in here planting some Hosta. You can see last fall. There's another Hosta. I was digging around in here planting. So I could have, you know, disturbed this one. We also could have disturbed this when we cut down this dead tree. I'm not sure, but this was the size of all of these two. So I'm not sure, that's probably what happened though. Let's see here. So down here I've got some Jack Frost Brunnera, and that is starting to put on some size. This one is really big here, starting to put some blooms on as well. But man, I need to get down here and clean all this up. And we are going to put mulch down here this year, which I'm so excited about, because last year we didn't have a chance to put mulch down and it just didn't look as good as what it normally does. All right, so it's actually a few days later. I had to get going because it was getting super windy that day, and then also I had to get going to church. And then like the next day we literally got like a snow, not a storm, but we had a snow come in, covered everything. I thought I was gonna lose my daffodils. They were like completely fallen over, and they look fine now. We had snow 2 nights in a row and everything is looking all right. So it's a few days later. We'll try to pick up where we left off. I can't really even remember where we left off, but I think we were down here with these Hellebore. But yes, I've got a few different kinds of Hellebore in here, and like I said, I'll throw the kinds on the screen because I can't remember what they all are. A few of these are the same kinds because I have split them into separate plants. I feel like this one might be Frost Kiss, maybe? I think this one might be Frost Kiss. I think this one might be First Love. And I think this one is, no, that's not it. I was gonna say Penny Pink, but it's not it. Penny Pink is a little lighter than that. That one, I'm not sure. I'll have to look at my tags. My Sum and Substance Hosta is popping up here. This thing gets huge. I might end up separating it this year, we'll see. All in here, I've got tons of Hosta and Fern. Let's look and see if the ferns are popping. Those usually take a little bit longer. Yep, you can see they're starting to make their way through the soil here for another go around. And then also in here, I've got Great Expectation Hosta around my bird bath. And in front of that, I've got Wrinkle in Time Hosta. And all these are starting to pop up too. So I got all those in the front, the little tiny Wrinkle in Times. Over here, this is an Empress Woo. This one gets really, really big, but this will only be the 3rd year that it will be in the ground. So we'll see how much bigger it gets. Over here, I've got some Hosta that I need to clean up, but I'm pretty sure this is Frances William. Should probably have my gloves on. Oh, yep, you can see there she is. This one is huge. This one gets really big, and I split this from another one that I had on the side of the house. And I need to clean this up. That's my next thing on my list. Up here, I've got more Hosta. I have 3 of the same kind right here. And this is Woo La La. It is a proven winner, and it's kind of similar, I guess, to the Empress Woo, but it's not as big, and it has a slight variegation in it. I got a tag in here, actually, I can show you. So yeah, you can see it's a little bit smaller than the Empress Woo, and you can see there's like a slight variegation around the edges there. But this is a really cool one. I love this Hosta so much. I've split this one a couple times too, but again, I've got 3 of them that kind of come up here, and these are leafing out quite a bit, which, man, I might have to cover these this weekend because we're supposed to get more snow, and you can already see a little bit of damage from the frost. So, I mean, if these leaf out anymore, I might have to protect them. And like I said, you guys, like, it is a mess out here. I still have to clean down here. I kind of made it down through my gully up to where those like boxwoods are right there in the bench, and then I just haven't made it down here, so it's pretty nasty. So I have to get out here with my rake and rake back all this leaf mulch that I put in over the fall, and then also get cracking on the weeds. So we will get to that. This is just real life. This is what my garden looks like right now. So, but I've got some more Hosta right down here. These are another one of my favorites. This is called Stained Glass. This is a really pretty, vibrant green, and once these wildberry Heuchera grow in, they just look really, really good together. Got tons of that coming up. Then let's go over here. This is a little dump bed that I have. I put a bunch of plants in here at the end of the season that I wanted to winter over. So I've got a bunch of Heuchera in here that's kind of making its way up. There's some Carex that got, you know, eaten by the deer, some Acorus grass and geranium, and then some Pulmonaria. This is actually pretty. It's blooming right now. So I'll probably wait to move that till after it's done blooming. And then I have a bunch more Brunnera on here, and I think this is Looking Glass. Yeah, so this is Looking Glass Brunnera. I got this at the end of the season for like $2 a piece, and just threw it over in here to winter over. And throughout here are some different divisions of that Woolala Hosta that I transplanted. There's also some more Francis Williams in here that I split and transplanted. I've got a little row of Carex right here that I'll probably end up moving because we're cleaning all this area out, and I want to be able to maybe drive through here with my little gator. Over here I have tons of Hosta and Heuchera that are coming up. I also have some Rebecca, and what else do I have in here? I think Nephofia. And this hill in, gosh, I don't know, a couple weeks, a few weeks maybe, it's getting ready to bloom right now. But this is going to be blooming with the most beautiful blue you've ever seen. It's gorgeous. And it's all ajuga, chocolate chip ajuga. So I'll come in here and clean this out really soon too, like clean all the weeds out. And you can see I've got like a wood path here lining it, and it's kind of creeping over the wood path, so I'll probably come in here and take these out and put them somewhere else. But they're really easy to dig out. You just kind of rip them out, and look at all the roots on that. Like, I could go put that somewhere, anywhere I want, and it will just take off and look beautiful. So there's tons of it to go around. I kind of wanted to continue it around this hill bank here when I get to it. Let's come up here for a second because I wanted to show you some plants that I wintered over in containers, and I'll show you how they did. So these are the plants that I wintered over. Of course, this Heuchera, this is a Southern Comfort, and this is probably the third year I've wintered it over in this container, and it does just fine. This is a Obsidian Heuchera. This is probably the third year that I've wintered it over as well. This Heuchera right here overwintered just fine. This is a evening gown Heuchera. This is a cinnamon stick Heuchera, I believe. I also had a Brunnera in here, and I can't remember if it was the Jack of Diamonds or the Queen of Hearts. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that's not coming back. So note to self, don't try to overwinter Brunnera in a container, because that was right here. Now I do see some Hosta there that looks like it is making a return. So that's really cool. Yeah, this one, I think it was a yellow polka dot bikini maybe Hosta, so we'll see how that does. And then of course my hens and chicks, most of these came back. This was just an experiment as well. I'll probably clean this up and separate them a little bit, but some came back, some didn't. That's just how it goes with hens and chicks. I've got a Heuchera coming back here, and this is another Sum and Substance Hosta. This one is really big and beautiful as well. These are Bridal Veil Astilbe that are coming back. Got to get out here and clean up all the leaves. My Annabelles are starting to leaf out as well, so I'll come in here and trim off all the dead from the winter. Got another nice Heuchera down here, which is flanked on each side by a Hosta, and I can't remember what those are until I see them come back. Another Annabelle, and then the same thing, it just mirrors the same Hosta with the Heuchera in the center. Another Annabelle, and then I've got 3 Hosta right here, and I believe, if I remember right, these are stained glass. They're starting to pop up. Up here, I've got some Palace Purple Heuchera in here that need a split badly. I also need to get in here and tend to this giant Annabelle hydrangea. You can see it's sending off runners like everywhere. So the plant, I planted one tiny little plant right there, and the plant itself is, you know, getting big, but then it's also sending off all these runners everywhere. So what I can do is I can come in here and dig these out, all these extra little plants, and I can plant them somewhere more plants. So that's what I've been doing. I've been planting them all along here. Actually, this tour is just a mess, you guys, but I want to take you over here before we keep going and show you my Annabelles that I transplanted last year in the middle of the summer, and they are doing great. They've got lots of green growth on them. And here's another one. It's looking really good. And then here's another one. So they're doing really well. Those are 3, and then I've got 2 more down there that look great. And then I have a few down here. So here's one, and then I have 2 more right there. So what happened was, in 2020, I had put in this garden bed here, basically from, I don't know, I'd say about like right here all the way down. I put that in 2020. Well, I only had went over into the woods about this far, and since then, for the last couple years, I went over, you know, even further. Well, I have my Annabelles kind of at the back of the garden bed here, and they were right along this line right here, and they were just kind of blocking everything that I was going to be able to plant in back of them, and so I dug them up and split them and moved them basically to the back of the line. So that's my kind of thinking around that. So I'm gonna continue going down the line with more Annabelles that I dig up and split. But I wanted to take you over here and show you these Astilbe. They're looking really great. These are Visions in Pink Astilbe, and last year I left all of the blooms on them, even though they turned brown. Usually I come in and cut them back after they're done blooming, but I left the blooms on. I thought they looked really cool, and I was glad I did, because I actually ended up using these for like winter decorations and spray painting them, and it turned out pretty cool. My Heuchera bush is about ready to throw on some blooms, so this is going to be exciting. This is probably one of my favorite garden beds that I have, because this was one of the first ones that I put in, and it doesn't have that many plants in it. It's super simple, but it's just really pretty. Like the Heuchera, it blooms first, and then the Astilbe blooms, and the Annabelle blooms, and then once all that happens, I usually come in and put impatiens in, and then they're blooming for the rest of the season. I also have some Hosta in here as well. So up here, I've got some giant Annabelles and some Heuchera that are popping up. So in the front, I have, what is this, Catching Fire, which I'm not sure it's liking its spot, so I might end up moving these this year. It just doesn't do as well in the full sun. So yeah, I've got Catching Fire, Pumpkin Spice, and Plum Pudding, and you can see how big this Heuchera is. It has been in here for quite some time, so I'm probably going to have to come in here and split this up and transplant it into some other areas. But yeah, you can see this Catching Fire, it just really doesn't like the sun over here, so we are probably going to have to move that eventually. My dappled willow tree is starting to put on some buds. It's looking really pretty. I love this tree. I will come in here soon and cut all my grasses back. Right down here, my Easy Elegans roses are starting to put on a bunch of new growth, so that's exciting. These things are so pretty. They bloom so many times throughout the season. I am going to come in here soon as well, and we will cut back my hydrangeas. These are little lime hydrangeas, so these are going to need a trim really soon here. And then we'll just come over here on this side of the house and get a quick look at my weeping cherry tree because it is about to bloom. This thing is so pretty when it blooms. I love it a lot. And it's really getting kind of a little bit too big for me, so I'll have to come in and trim it, but I love the way these looked when they are trimmed up like completely, like almost like a bowl cut. And they just get hacked right across the bottom there. I think they're really neat looking, so we'll probably have to give this a little prune job. And then over here I am gonna have to cut back these limelight hydrangeas and trim these up and clean this area up as well. But my Cleveland pears are blooming right now, so that's pretty cool. Just a really nice white color. 3 of these Cleveland pears I planted a little bit later than the other 3, so that's why 3 of them are a little bit smaller. And you guys, I got a lot of work to do out here. I'm gonna come in here and clean back all this dead Nephofia foliage from last season. Sedum is popping back really pretty. This one is so cool. It's like variegated pink, green, and white. Up here I have some poppy. These are just oriental poppies, those classic black and orange ones. I've got a few of them in here. And then these are also one of my favorites. These are a Siberian iris. Got a few of these in here as well, and a bunch of other perennials. This beauty berry bush I'm gonna work on digging out and giving to my sister. You can see at the bottom there, she comes over and she cuts off of this during the winter time and uses it for her cut flower arrangements and wreaths and all kinds of different things. So I kind of want to just give this to her because it's overgrowing this spot, and she likes it more than I do, so I'm gonna give that to her here pretty soon. Another thing on my list this year is to clean all this up and divide all these Hosta. These Hosta have been in here for, this will be going on 7 years this year, and they are getting big. I have already split a bunch of them and taken some out of here, but I need to come in and do it to the rest. See, they're starting to pop up here. They're all over the place. This as well as Astilbe. I've got patches of Astilbe in here as well. And Heuchera, of course. This is the little Japanese maple, also getting ready to bloom. It is so pretty in the spring when it first like comes out with its blooms. It's really magical looking. Man, everywhere I go I see work, tons of work. This is Hakana grass. I gotta clean all that up, and that's something else I want to split this year too. It's kind of gotten a little bit too big for me. It's not out of control, but I do want to take some chunks off of it this year and transplant it in another spot. Up here I've got some Heuchera. This Heuchera is really pretty. It loves living here in this garden over here. My clematis is doing great. It actually already has some buds on it, which is nuts. So this is doing really good. I transplanted this in the heat of the summer last year. I wasn't sure how it was gonna do, but it's doing fine. Here I've got a bunch of plants that I overwintered. Some boxwood, some hosta that are popping up. These I believe are just winter gem boxwoods. Yep. Over here I've got pretty and pink roses that I planted last summer, and hopefully these will climb up this really neat trellis that my brother made me and be beautiful. I've got 2 of them, so I've got one there and then I have one here. So I'll probably come in here and trim these back a little bit and cut like the dead bits off. I'm pleasantly surprised with my Heuchera that wintered over. The deer came in here and just hacked all of this back. They were really hungry one night and they ate all of it, but it's coming back just fine, so pretty excited about that. This one was the mahogany monster, and I do have a few of these already. This one is the, I can't remember, let's see, apple twist. Cherry truffles is this one right here. These ones are the Timeless series, so this one is very timeless. And then this one over here is, I think it's another Timeless series. It might be Timeless Night. And then I also have some Carex in here that I got on sale, some lavender that wasn't hardy to my zone, so I wasn't sure if it was going to work out or not. Some of it is coming back. This one looks like it's completely dead. These were the Price is White Echinacea. I love that because Price is my maiden name, so that was kind of fun. And then I've got, what was this? I think Flax. And I can't remember the variety. Cloudburst Flax. I've got 3 of those. This movie is getting really long. Maybe next time I'll take you out into the island bed and then over in this bed, and maybe we can kind of get a little bit more down and dirty at the things that are popping up in the ground. But I did just want to come out here, and boy, I don't even need my coat anymore. The sun popped out and it is beautiful out here. I would say it's probably like 55 degrees. So anyway, thank you guys so much for walking around my yard with me and just exploring. This is the most excited that I get sometimes in the spring, when I get to walk around and see all the things that are popping up, because honestly, even though I've had some of these plants for years, I kind of forget. I forget what's there when I see them, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's that, or oh yeah, there's that hosta, or oh, I remember I transplanted that last year and it came back. I'm so excited. So it's just really fun to just kind of go out and explore and investigate and find all the great things that are returning for another year, another go around. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and we'll be back soon and I'll show you a little bit more next time. Bye. So Max is out here on the harness and he loves it out here. He kind of just likes to like roll around in the grass and on the cement. But yeah, he's loving it.